Here's a TV that looks like an apple.
Before we begin, I've got some admin to get through. First of all, received many offers about this banner replacement. Get rid of this scuffy banner here. A lot of professional printers got in touch, thank you. I've not responded to any of you yet. I'm going through all of the offers, and I will be in touch about quotes to one or some of you in the near future. Thank you very much. Second of all, on last week's episode, I mentioned the Ballad of Gay Tony when obviously I was supposed to be talking about The Lost and the Damned, two very different products. That was on purpose. That wasn't a mistake. That's not something that's Chip's fault or anything like that. It's actually a story-based reason. I did that because of story arc, okay? And when you find out the shocking reason why I said the Ballad of Gay Tony instead of The Lost and the Damned, you're going to be ashamed of your words and deeds. I breathe through my skin is the reason. Anyway, let's get on with today's episode, where we're going to slag Nintendo off on the internet. Star wipe! We've talked about specific problems with Nintendo's stocking of desirable items in the past, with Amiibo and the complete ball-scratching cum show that whole deal was. But with the recent release of the NES Classic and the borderline impossibility of its acquisition, I feel we need to really hammer home just how utterly and truly balked it is that Nintendo continues to undersell its products for no justifiable reason. So the NES Classic, I've argued in the past why I feel it lacks inherent value in a world of emulation and games on demand, but I cannot deny that despite my personal belief in the merits of the machine, it was going to be a highly desirable item. I mean, it's the Nintendo Entertainment System, gutted up and repackaged to sell to the nostalgia-riddled and to dads who want to force their idiot children to appreciate the classics even though no child wants to play Balloon Fight. There was no doubt the NES Classic is something a lot of people wanted, but supply did not meet demand. How far did the shipments fall of said demand, you may ask? Well, Amazon warned customers that the plug and play would be in stock for literal minutes before remaining unavailable again for a very long time. Within 13 minutes, Amazon announced they were all out, and even customers who managed to get one in their carts had their product evaporate before the final purchase could be confirmed. Brick and mortar stores issued pre-orders and quickly ran out of what stock they had, stock that was so limited as to be officially classified bloody pitiful. Stories of the system's unavailability actually preceded the system's launch, with various media outlets preparing their readers for the first-come, first-served, minutes-long battle of consumerism that was to come. Nintendo had to have seen this coming. I mean, everybody else did. If it didn't, then Nintendo is officially overseen by a collective of dribbling fucking idiots who are so stupid they panic every time they shit themselves because they think they're melting. No, let's give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt and assume it knew the NES Classic would be a hot commodity with a ton of customers clamoring for it. With that in mind, how did Nintendo prepare for this onslaught of customers eager to fork over their hard-earned cash? Well, Nintendo did what Nintendo always does and shipped a comically meager amount of the things. For an idea of just how utterly pathetic the situation was, my local Target had 3, not 30, not 300, 3 NES Classics to sell on launch day. 1, 2, 3. This is according to my sources at said Target, who I'll refer to only as the damned and the fucking forsaken. In the week since launch, that Target's had another shipment, surely enough to cover at least a reasonable portion of the demand, right? Nope. Guess how many NES Classics they've received since? 50? Nah. 20? Nah. 10? Nah. Another 3? No. Couldn't even get another 3. Nintendo shipped 2. In totality, since release, that local Target has received an incredible 5 NES Classics. This is the reality of Nintendo's distribution method, and you could say, sure Jim, but you live in bumblefuck Mississippi, but this thing is unavailable everywhere, and it's because this is how Nintendo does it. In fact, retailers around the country have informed multiple outlets that they all received stock in the single digits, less than 10 apiece, which is scientifically a bullshit amount of stock. I do not mean to undersell the difficulty in manufacturing hardware to meet demand. Hell, I don't want to undersell anything, that's Nintendo's job. Yeah, trying to make a ton of hardware, even $60 hardware intended to emulate decades-old ROMs, is going to be a challenge, and even if Nintendo maxed out production and gave retail way more units than it did, this thing could easily still have been hard to find. But I absolutely refuse to believe Nintendo tried its hardest to get the Classic into as many hands as possible. Not at this point, not with the history Nintendo's had with pulling this shit. I mean, this is exactly what happened with the Amiibo. In fact, using the Target Forsaken as a source again, I can say Nintendo deliberately undersold certain Amiibo to falsify a scarcity. And if I'm wrong, Nintendo, feel free to sue me. Stores would get a box load of some characters, but only 4 bloody Marths, and similarly predetermined popular characters, to create that artifice of rarity. And that's what it is, artifice. Pre-planned, manufactured, thoroughly contrived rarity. We all remember how hard it was to get Amiibo, despite many of them becoming increasingly roped into gameplay content, and they were just plastic fucking toys. No way was it hard to make and ship more Marths than Nintendo did, as Nintendo proved when it finally relented and started shipping a shitload of Marths. Nintendo was just taking the piss. Taking the piss, or again, being stupendously, majestically incompetent. There's no logistical way I can accept another option with either the plastic toys or the NES Classic. Shady bullshit or utter idiocy. Take your pick. It's an old tactic, one that is regularly employed by toy companies, and something Nintendo seems unable to break the habit of when it comes to electronics. There is a difference between how big-ticket toys and big-ticket electronics are sold. Typically, electronics don't pull this kind of stunt. Retailers receive ample supply of Xbox One S's and PS4 Pros. Hell, in fact, I can go onto Amazon right now at the time of speaking and buy a PS4 Pro easily. Sure, popular electronics can sell out, but they're often swiftly replenished because their manufacturers want to meet that demand. Nintendo has the mindset of a toy maker, not an electronics maker. Let me explain. This year, the must-have toy is apparently the Hatchimal. I have no fucking clue what a Hatchimal is other than it's bloody stupid looking. I'm getting all this from my Target Forsaken. But apparently the Hatchimal is the new big thing that all the kids want for Christmas. Last year it was something called a Shopkin, whatever the hell that is. The year before that, Elsa from Frozen had some doll that was massively popular. From my own childhood, I can remember this being true going back decades. I'm thinking about Tickle Me Elmos, Teletubby dolls, Beanie Babies, Cabbage Patch Kids, Teenage Mutant Ninja / Hero Turtles, all the hot new thing for their era, all hugely difficult to obtain at the height of their popularity. Boglins, by the way, exempt from that. They never really were that immensely popular. They had fans and that, but weren't really a huge craze. I think that's why I like them, actually, because Boglins remind me of me. They're cute in an ugly sort of way, and they're not particularly popular. Still, they make more money than they deserve on the internet, so who's complaining? Not me. Toy manufacturers love to understock this shit, to drive that desirability up and play to humankind's animal instincts. The instincts that say if something is hard to get, it must be good. If something can't be obtained, we want more than ever to obtain it. If someone else has the thing the other people can't have, they are better than us. And if your children's happiness can also be leveraged into the bargain, all the better for the companies in charge. Even worse, it works. Really, really well. It's sick, but despite my complete lack of interest in an NES Classic, if I saw one on a shelf right now without having to go out of my way to find it, I'd sure as fuck buy it. Because I'm a despicable consumerist worm, and my disgusting primordial brain is but fertile clay for the twisted toy makers of the world to manipulate and shape to their darkest whims. Anyway, that's the benefit for those wondering why. It's a common and fair enough question to ask how Nintendo benefits from understocking something, from making it it harder for customers to give them money. It doesn't look logical on paper, but the answer is plainly visible. It's an amplification of desire, so that whenever Nintendo does make more, it's guaranteed to sell them. And it doesn't matter to Nintendo if even most of those lucky buyers are scalper scum who'll put them straight on eBay for up to quadruple the retail price. Nintendo can just take a fuck you got mine attitude to that crap. Nintendo's always had more of a toy company ethic than an electronic one, and that's cute and charming sometimes, but this is definitely the underhanded side of it, shining through with all the subtlety of a penis in a wasp nest. And you know, it's the poor fuckers in the trenches I feel for the most. The disappointed customers, yeah, that sucks for them, but the poor fuckers on the other side of the counter dealing with those customers who take it really badly, they deserve goddamn medals. To pull from my local Target again, the folks working there spent the rest of the NES Classic's launch day fielding complaints and outrage from the general public who couldn't understand why the thing advertised as available that day wasn't available that day. I speak from experience, and I'm sure I speak for many people when I say anyone who's worked a customer serving job can tell you how abusive, nasty, and cruel angry customers can get, and those retail workers just have to stand there and take it in torrents and waves far over and above what they could have been getting just so Nintendo can artificially magnify desire for its product and revel in all the media stories about how quickly its awesome product sold out. It is of course Nintendo's right to do this, but honestly Nintendo, fuck you for throwing retail workers under the bus for your own cynical avarice. Don't they have enough to deal with this time of year? Black Friday, Christmas, goddamn fucking Hatchimals, and on top of that, you're there to stick the boot in and grind a little extra shit into their crotches. Thanks for that, you duplicitous second-hand cock rings. Nintendo shipped over 10 million copies of Pokemon Sun and Moon, by the by. Just in case you needed some evidence that Nintendo can happily make and sell a fuckload of product when it wants to. Oh, and while we're on the subject of Nintendo's distribution fuckery, screw you also, Nintenders, for holding back the European version of the game several days for no reason other than you're a close-minded, outdated, jumped-up little shit of a company that can't get it into your thick fucking skull that we live in a global market now, and there's nothing saying you can't ship a game worldwide, you're just being a fucking dick. Stop being a fucking dick, Nintendo. You fucking dick. And some sort of 3D wipe back to me, that'll do. Hello. So, that was a great episode. I should have warned you, there's a little bit of swearing in today's episode, so if you're shocked by any of the foul language, well, you can't be now because I've warned you. Thank God for me! That was a short ending. Oh, well, fuck it. My job's done.